What's up, YouTube? We're here with another one today. So we did the front brakes and the headlights on the FJ on the last one. So we're doing the rear brakes on this one. So obviously, I don't need to tell you, is jack this thing up, take the wheels off of it. Y'all know that already. These things are different. I'm sure Toyota's not the only one that's done this. Toyota's the only one I've had encountered that done it. Let me show you what I'm talking about, especially when we get this thing apart. Show you what all we got to go through to get these brakes off. They're different. They are a little different than the front, but we are replacing rotors, so we still got to take every bit of it off. But I'll show you what you can do if you're just doing pad slap, and then show you what to do if you're doing rotors and everything. And there's look at troublemaker over there. So anyway, goofy y'all. All right, let's take a look. All right, so this one has a setup to where you can take this bolt and this bolt out, and this center section of this caliper, this is the bracket, this center section of this caliper will come out, and you can just take the pads off, squeeze the caliper, put the pads back on, put this back on, put these back in, these slide bolts and stuff. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna take, there's a bolt here and one on the bottom, and it takes this bracket off. I've already broke this loose to take this caliper off. Take the caliper off, then we'll take this bracket off, and we'll put in all new slides. So this one has just a rubber grommet, and then this side has a new sleeve that goes all the way through it that's rubber. We'll put those on and grease them. In here, these things are so, I don't know, if, like I said, I don't know if it's only Toyota. I'm sure it's not. I'm sure somebody else does it. Let me know in the comments if anybody else is counting on something else. These are your rotors, obviously. When you pull these rotors off, you have drum brakes inside of this. This is why this is so big. You have drum brakes in here, and that's for your emergency brake. So, golly, I can't even do a video, y'all. So anyway, this is this way, so that it has drum brakes in here for your emergency brake. So let me get this off. I'm gonna pull this these bolts out, pull this caliper off. I'll show you that how that is whenever you pull that off. Then I'll show you pulling this bracket off and changing these. Well, this one only has this piece, and this one has one that goes all the way through. I'll show you that. Also, the kit that he got come with these new little metal clips here. We'll replace those and get off. Also on this one, it has a rubber line run to the caliper with a banjo bolt. So obviously, we're not gonna have any issues with any lines whatsoever. Pull this off, set it off to the side because it's flexible. Set it off to the side and get this caliper off, or this rotor off. So let's get to it. Andrew's over making a bunch of noise putting his wheel on. But anyway, so this, you can see, we took these two bolts out. These are slider bolts. Always make sure you clean these up, put a little grease on them, and they go into this boot. I have a new boot that we're gonna put in there. But anyway, if you're just doing pads and you ain't doing anything to your rotors, you know, you take those two bolts out right there, your caliper comes off, you can set it up there, and your pads, you can just pretty much pull them right out. It does take me two hands because, you know, anyway. But there you go. See there? They just pull out like that. That one's a little tighter, so I'll probably stick a little screwdriver in here, pull it out a little bit or something, and then I'll replace these clips. I'll pull this off and we'll replace everything. And then I'll show you the inside of this once we get this off. So here's your rubber boot, y'all. It goes through. It actually goes through from this side. What I like to do is I want to get this started in here. I don't know if I can do it one-handed, but what I'll do is I get it started down in there, and then I'll take a bolt that's a little smaller so it's not like super tight down in there, and then I'll just push it all the way through until it pokes out the other side. So let's all right, let me get this in here, y'all. I'll get back with you. All right, y'all. So we got on. This is just a rubber boot. It's got like a little lip in there. It just sits down in there in a groove. Put these new clips on. Always make sure your clips like this. Let me rephrase this. I always check to see how yours are done to put them back like it was. This one has all the hardware on the outside, except for one little small piece there to pinch it in. But that's how it was. So we got the new boot on there. Got the new boot on there. Flip it over, we got this new piece. So we're gonna get this, we're gonna take a clamp that. Then on these, what we're gonna do is got these bolts we run in these calipers, or rotors rather, sorry. Run them in these rotors here, and it'll pull these off. So on these, like I was telling y'all before, it has the emergency brake in there. So when you do these, you have to make sure your emergency brake is not pulled or pushed, or however. This one's got the little lever in it. Some of them have the pedal you push. Just make sure your e-brake is not on, because if it is and you go to pull all this off, it will tear all your brakes apart. On these, the Forerunners, I think the Tundras and Sequoias are the same way. To fix the drum brake part of it, you pretty much have to pull the axle out of it.
Screw that.
So be careful with that. So what I do is I'll spray some brake cleaner in there if it seems like it's kind of catching a little bit. So I did on the other side. The brake cleaner gets the dust away from it and helps it slide off. So let's get this mashed and get these run off, and I'll show you the inside of this here. All right, y'all. So here is the famousness. As you can see, you can't really get to nothing without taking the axle out, obviously. So you actually have to go in and take this axle loose. Or let's see, this thing it bolts right here. You got 4 bolts, and then you can pull the axle out. So it's not really that bad, but it's the point you have to pull the axle. It's just got those 4 bolts because it don't have any kind of like C-clip or anything in it, I don't think, on these. I know my Tundra, I've had it out because I've took the axle out of my Tundra, and it does the same way. It's got those 4 bolts. You pull the axle out because I had to replace the seal in my Tundra in the back of it. So it's really not that bad, Andrew, if you ever have to do it. But it's just the point that you do have to pull it out to do it. So
I hope I don't ever have to replace
I always just like to make sure that it's got a little place on it. That'll be fine. I just always make sure that obviously my emergency brake's not on that because of that whole situation. But it's kind of a crazy setup, but it is what it is. Y'all, look at that rotor, man. Woo! Looks good. Got it on there. Got that back on. Got these in. Got to get these lined up here. And once you get those lined up, you can slide those on. I always put a little grease on them. Make sure they're in there. Slide them in. Start the bolts. Start ratcheting it down. Because it's threaded, actually threaded on this piece, and it just goes through to here. But whenever you thread it, it pulls that into it. So anyway, it's your little sliders. But let's get that bolt in, get that bottom bolt in, and this thing will be good to go. So all right, y'all, that's it. We're gonna have Andrew put the wheel on. I'm gonna clean this off a little. I thought I already sprayed it, but it looked like I had a little film on it, so we're gonna spray it off a little. Never have enough brake cleaner, y'all. So Andrew gonna put this wheel on. Hope you don't leave my light in there.
No, yeah.
But
hey man,
get this on, and then we're gonna grease this jaw shaft.
That's a poor man's underglow, buddy.
All right, y'all. Anybody that has, I'm sure there's other ones that do it. I know some big trucks have it. This jaw shaft it has a slip in it. If you look right there, so this thing has a grease fitting. Oh crap! I'm underneath here. It's got a grease fitting right here, obviously, and it pushes grease through this and into this side. If you do not have this greased well enough, when you come to a stop, this thing will jolt. And when it jolts, it feels like either the transmission or rear end's coming out of it, or it almost feels like you got a transmission mount bad. Because my Tundra was doing it, and I thought I had transmission mount bad. And I kept looking and kept looking and kept looking and kept looking. I've done research on it and come to find out, if this is not greased, when you come to a stop, sometimes it almost feels like somebody's hitting you. Or like it's maybe like a transmission sitting down, like the mount's bad or something like that. So if you ever have a feeling like a transmission mount is like a little loose, or like somebody hitting you when you come to a stop or something, make sure you grease this. Make sure you grease all your universal joints and all that. So we're gonna get this greased. Andrew's got the wheel on. We'll get this greased, get it set down, torque all the wheels, will be done. All right, y'all. FJ'd up. What is this mess?
Well, I couldn't get FJ and your mom because they said it was inappropriate.
Did they really?
Yeah.
All right. We got everything together on this thing. Man, look at this. Look how shiny them things are in there. See if these front ones are messed up yet. Look at there.
New $200 calipers too, buddy.
Yeah, you got new calipers on the front. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it for that one, y'all. That's it for that. That's the back brakes on the FJ, and obviously I threw in a little jaw shaft thing just to give y'all a heads up. But y'all, anytime y'all have stuff, if you're working on your own stuff, if you get something you haven't had or anything like that, just go through and check all your greasable joints, everything in the front, your your drive shaft, anything that has a greasable joint on it, check it. Make sure it's got grease in it. Make sure nothing's busted. Make sure nothing's loose. Anything like that, especially on anything. Look up here, y'all. We got drag tires up here. But anyway, that's gonna be it for this one. I appreciate y'all watching. Please like, share, subscribe, comment. See y'all.